Welcome to school board meeting is Monday, February 13th, 2023, 6 o'clock. We're in the Susan Tully Live Board in the 1887 building. Call the meeting to order and ask
Mr. Gamer. Here. Mrs. Ingersoll.
Here.
Mr. Martell.
Here.
Donald.
Here.
Mrs. Ray.
Here.
Mr. Scarrow.
Here.
Ms. Colton.
Here.
And Ms. Williams is excused.
We have a quorum and we'll continue. I will note that tonight's meeting was noticed per state statutes. We have a pretty good audience tonight. Do we have some community participation? Or is everybody on this agenda already? Everybody's on the agenda.
I have something I would like to say.
Okay, give me 1 second to read this and then you'll be free to speak. Reminder for any citizen that is speaking during community participation to complete the sign-in sheet by the door to accurately provide the administration with name, address, phone number, and email. This will help the administration with any follow-up if needed. Finally, the community participation period is an important time for the Board of Education to hear concerns, gratitude, etc. of its constituents. That said, prior to making a statement, please be aware that each speaker bears the personal risk of anything they say during community participation of the school board meeting is defamatory, slanderous, or otherwise harmful to another individual. With that, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Katie Sieber, and I'm speaking tonight in regards to an email that I sent to Mr. Tadlock and the entire school board on February 4th. To summarize that email, my husband and I have had some concerns regarding Hope Squad. One of our greatest concerns is that there seems to be a lack in policies and procedures when a Hope Squad member brings a student of concern to a trusted adult in the school. Our own daughter, who is in 7th grade, has been brought into 2 initial meetings that a counselor and social worker had with one of her peers. After those meetings, the other students' parents received a phone call, yet as a parent of a Hope Squad member, we heard nothing. The student of concern is also given support either in or out of school, while our Hope Squad student is now burdened with another student's issues and receiving no support after the fact. If this has happened 2 times in just a few months to our child, how many other Hope Squad members have been involved in situations similar to this? And do their parents have any idea if they have not told them themselves? Clearly, there are some issues with Hope Squad. Mr. Tadlock, I want to thank you for your response to my email and that you and Sarah Bosch looked into our concerns. I am thankful that you have some new procedures to put in place. But I also hope our school board members have had the opportunity to be a part of this, as it shouldn't be just one person's decision. However, we still have worries. In a time where mental health is in the forefront, we are now asking middle and high school students to advocate for their peers in need. The training and literature handouts these students are receiving is geared towards adults, because dealing with an issue such as suicide is something that adults are educated to handle, not our teenage students. While I am thankful that our school district is trying to support students with mental health issues, I can't help but ask if we are going about it the wrong way. It seems that it is time to not only make sure that we have structured guidelines and procedures in place, but it also seems like we need to reevaluate the effectiveness of this program. I ask that you take a step back and look at how Hope Squad is affecting our students. Are we seeing enough positive effects that it is worth our time and the school district's money to continue this program? I am starting to think not, and that we need to work together to find a more positive and effective way to help students in need while also being mindful and taking care of all students. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I just have a question. I know that there's a meeting coming up next week.
Sorry, you just need to introduce yourself.
Oh,
And it's
I'm
public
Melissa.
comment, so
Yep.
there's no.
I know you
response.
can't respond to it, but I'm
Right.
Melissa Bollinger, and I know that there's a special meeting coming up next week for the applicants that have filled out to take Barb's spot. And I just was wondering if the bylaws are saying that the board, wondering if the bylaws say that the board should appoint a person to fill Barb's spot. And why can't we have a special election and have the community vote for who would fill that seat, especially since it's so close to the next election? Thank you.
I'll just quickly clarify. State statutes dictate the process and the procedures that you have to have. And because of the timing of it and Barb's death, it has to be filled by the school board within 60 days or appointed by the board president. past 60 days, and then there would be an election for that seat next
On
term.
her turn up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, good question.
Okay. Nothing else? All right. We'll move on. Elkhorn Area Fine Arts Booster presentation.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Gwen Griffin, and this is Robin Scherzer. I am the president of the Elkhorn Area Fine Arts Boosters, and Robin is the treasurer. We have Connie Gatz, who's our vice president, and Andy White, who is our secretary. So this organization was founded really by Connie and Sandy Ellsworth a few years ago, but now we are a full-fledged registered 501c3. And so our mission, we just wanted to introduce ourselves. The mission of this club is to promote and support all the fine arts programs at the Elkhorn Area High School. And that includes band, choir, theater, forensics, culinary arts, and regular physical arts. So we are just getting started, really. Three of us, Connie, Robin, and myself, do not have children in the school district any longer, so we really want to get the word out so that we get more participation as we, eventually step away. For the last 2 years, we've been able to provide one $500 scholarship to a graduating senior who's going into fine arts related field. This year, we're going to be able to offer two $500 scholarships, in addition to summer enrichment scholarships. And we are also able to offer $600 each to the theater department, the band, and culinary arts. We asked the teachers if they had needs, and those are the ones that came back to us with needs. So I think it's my understanding that you'll be voting on it later today. So, anything else? We just wanted to introduce ourselves. I don't know if anybody has any questions.
So do you have anybody else that's participating in, how are you getting the word out?
We do. We have members that
Okay.
they pay us either yearly or for a lifetime membership.
Okay.
And then we've done 2 fundraisers now. Well, the poinsettias, we've done 2 years in a row. And then this summer we did Kids from Wisconsin, and that was a really big fundraiser for us. And that's how we're getting the money for the scholarships and for the enrichments and those types of things. So they've been very successful. But because of COVID, it slowed us down.
Yeah.
And so now we're picking up speed.
And we will be bringing Kids from Wisconsin back again this year. So that's a big opportunity for us to raise a lot of money and then we can give back to the kids in fine arts.
That's great. Do you know what the attendance was for the Kids for Wisconsin last summer?
Oh gosh, do you remember?
I don't remember. I want to say it was right, it hovered right around 200, didn't it? I think so.
We have a lot of room to grow that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for all you do for the students.
Absolutely, thank you.
We're the music people. Right, we're the creatives.
Is there still an Elkhorn grad in Kids for Wisconsin?
Not this year, no.
No,
But yeah, Zoe Gatz was, and so was,
Nathan Puberty.
Thank you.
Yeah, he was in it,
Colleen.
in the past, and then they're always looking. So
Yeah, every year.
they're hoping to, but that there isn't a hometown kid this
No,
year.
not this year.
At least not that we're aware of.
Mm-mm.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Korean College Academy.
Good evening. Thanks for having us. My name is Kelly Demarath, and I am the principal of the Korean College Academy. With me is one of our wonderful instructors, Matthew Wolf. He's a social studies instructor with us at the CCA. Tonight, I'd like to do a little history lesson. Mr. Wolf teaches history. A few years ago, I came
to this very room and I talked about this idea that I had to completely change our school over at Gateway. And to be innovative and to do things that they were doing outside of our state, but to really fuel the future ready pathways of our students. And that by doing that, by taking the resources that we have for each student and investing it into their future ready pathways, partnering with Gateway Technical College, that we could do some pretty amazing things. And those ideas, super amazing, but not as amazing as the students who actually took that torch and ran across the finish line. So I am so proud to introduce you to kind of our inaugural torch bearers who have, I have to tell you, have done such phenomenal things in it being future ready. So I would like to introduce them to you. They are prepared if you have questions. They're very excited for that, I'm sure. But to talk a little bit about their pathways too, because in terms of our young people doing things that are inspiring, they certainly have. And so Emily Hassel is a student who chose Elkhorn from her resident school district of Delavan, and she is going to change the world in the area of criminal justice. Nice. So started even before there was a criminal justice academy at Gateway, before they even thought we should reserve these classes. And then from here, once you graduate, you're looking at parlaying the credits that you have to a four-year opportunity. We have Miss Nora Trinity. She's a resident student of Elkhorn. She has pursued the Human Services Associate's degree. She is very close. She is very close to finishing. And I have to say all the students on the Dean's list, the honors list, but Nora is also, even before her field experience, has partnered with Health and Human Services to mentor a fellow student in need. So already putting human services into fruition. Matthew Woodell is the first student to achieve as many credits. What are we at? 49 credits and complete what is the equivalent of an associate's degree in welding. And received the great news of the new
job offer. So the 24th will be my last day of my current job, and then Monday the 27th I will be starting a traveling welding job to go across the 48 states.
Nice. Wow. That's awesome.
Mr. Calvin Prohaska would be our 2.0. He is following in Matthew's footsteps, but even before the welding academy was taking welding courses. The morning courses start at 7 a.m. Am I right? And go all. Yeah. Bright and early, we put a torch in his hand and go until noon. And so how many credits do you have?
29 credits.
And what grade are you in?
23 right now, and I am a sophomore.
Wow. Wow. Awesome.
Not even a sophomore?
No, I am a sophomore.
Oh, okay.
And then another innovative idea that we had that we presented to Gateway was in cosmetology, because we had students who were interested in cosmetology. But Gateway said, well, I had asked, could we have it in Elkhorn? Because I know I could fill a cohort of students, and a cohort is about 10 to make it financially viable. And they said no. So I wrote a grant, and I'm like, what if I paid for it? And they said yes. It's really amazing when you say that you're going to pay for something. So I had to
inform myself of like those shampoo bowls and like where to buy things. Our first cohort of students, in which Anastasia Roy was one of them. It was really phenomenal to see the first 4 classes of the pathway being taught in our building. And they brought a program to do it. But it was so inspiring that Anastasia came to me her junior year and said, what can I do to be done with my academic core credits for graduation so I can be full-time at Burlington? And that is what she's been doing all year, her senior year. She's been going 8 to 5. She's been just hitting it out of the park. She's done great. She had to leave early to come here. And how many credits? I don't know. I gotta count. I think it's like 20 to 30, but continuing on. So I just want to tell you how amazing these students are. I wanted to present them to you. They are definitely the torchbearers of many more. But if you have any questions, and I wouldn't mind asking them to stand for applause. And do you have any questions for them? Because I know they're so excited to answer.
What would you say to students that don't think they could do something that's non-traditional? Like the biggest hindrance, I think, at Kern College Academy and options, if I put the two together, is that students think they have to do the traditional route because that's kind of what their parents know, what the community knows. Like, what would you say is the best part of doing something that's different? Yeah, all of you.
The thing I would say different about it is just the learning type, the structure of it. I've always been hands-on, and they're not really on your back about it. You know, it's more of a calmer environment. They help you when you need it. They're really easy to come talk to, and the college aspect of it, it was easier than high school.
So why not do both, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. I would say just ask around. Like I didn't do very good in high school. I went from, it was very hard for me to even get D minuses in classes, and I had just had straight Fs, and now I'm probably a straight A student. Maybe a more people student. But I'm probably close to straight A student now, and it's Gateway is like probably the smartest idea I've ever seen anyone come up with, because at the age of 15, I never thought I would have a welder in my hand every day of my life. So now I do. Chase your dreams, because things can happen.
I think for me, I can do both, so I still go to Elkhorn for band because they don't have band there. But I did CCA and I finished all my classes junior year, my high school classes. But I stayed in high school technically so that I could be in band and backstage and still get my Gateway classes paid for.
Yeah.
So I would say like you can do all of it. Like you can do both.
It's really smart.
For me, I liked a lot that the teachers really tend to every student. So it's really one-on-one when you need them there. And it's better to have like a shorter school day and then still be able to have my classes at Gateway and then work, and I think it's really helped me feel more like an adult.
Personally, I did a horrible high school. I will say I was retaking classes over and over, and I never really got that far. And I didn't feel like I was being treated fair. Like I didn't feel like I was really listened to a lot of the time. So I figured to just transfer on my own. My family didn't like the idea of an alternative school. Kind of like traditionally think of it like, oh, that's like where bad kids go. Failures who don't do good. And then when I got there, like my mindset was completely changed, like the entire perspective. They're very adaptive with learning, and they try to be hands-on with stuff and help you. They want to see you succeed. They don't want to see you fail. And yeah, they like try to help with every single thing when it comes to that. And with me, I never had a lot growing up. And whenever I transferred over, opportunities were always thrown at me, and you just have to take them. And frankly, not a lot of people want to take opportunities because they're scared and they don't have time. But like here, they give you time. They make sure you can manage your time. They help you with that, and they help you expand your mind. And they're also very good when it comes to like adapting. You know, I don't know how to like really say that like over and over, but they're really good with adapting. Like I haven't seen a single student like genuinely struggle because they feel like they're safe there and it's just a good environment.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Matthew, just one more question, because I'm really curious. I mean, do you get asked for your autograph for being a movie star on the big
I
screen?
get a lot of phone calls. You know, I haven't been to the movie theater since it came out, but I know every time a movie comes out.
I've seen you a number of times. So.
Congrats, students, and Mr. Wolf and Mrs. Bimmerant. You're doing a lot of great work, groundbreaking work, and what I love to see as a Gateway trustee, but see the college come around to support the high schools, and the work that you're doing is not just impacting the Elkhorn students, but it's changing the entire system and giving opportunities to all the kids in the Gateway footprint.
And the additional things that we have is to this board. To be able to innovate like this and to be able to think differently about what we're doing to help students is very unique. And so the laboratory that we have and the ways that we can think differently about education and then work with other programs to make sure that all of our students in Elkhorn have these opportunities is so forward. It's just so forward, you know, and that's why you can see a lot of these students drive from their home districts for this opportunity. So I have to thank all of you.
And I think would be remiss, Kelly, can you share, since the shift was to Career and College Academy, what was the enrollment number in the alternative high school? And then what we're to now? And what's your current enrollment?
Pretty amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, you
Oh, sigh of relief. Sigh of relief.
Thank you. Stay for the rest.
Yeah. They have homework too.
Yeah.
All right, let's start with TA.
Unless you'd like to see it. Well, thanks for having us back. We're going to just follow up with some of your suggestions and everything and show you how we got some current funding for the playground website. So the first one was just checking in with the city of Elkhorn and their grant, and Bill reached out and John Angelo checked with them, and as you can see, they didn't have any of that money left. In fact, there was a lot smaller pot that they were given than they had originally expected. Checked with Kids Around the World. I had worked with PTA to help with contacting and talked to Jenny, and that was a little slow come back, and I think I reached out to you as soon as I did.
You did.
As soon as I did, they got back to us asking for pictures and different things. So I thought that was funny. Well, kind of ironic, but I also talked to Jim Brown, and he agreed to do the demolition removal, preparation of the site, thing like that. And just talking to him, he said, it'd be easier because he's going to work on more of a flex to volunteers' time and his crew. So there'll be some downtime and just be easier that way to take care of it and get it out. So he's willing to help out with that. So I really appreciate that. And then Eli checked with the high school to see if they wanted that metal as the other option. And I believe it's Thorson, who's the head of that department. Just kind of declined the metal. He talked about the different aspects. So one of the things I think that stood out was just the paint, the removal of paint, and all the fumes and everything that would come up along with that with the storage. So the last one was the adaptive piece. And we do have a few pieces out there, that I talked about. I always call it the little restaurant place where you can go back and forth and different aspects. But the swing, we looked at the swing. I contacted Lee about that. And with all the different parts and things that can go right in our swing set, about 1450 will be that. So we added that into the budget as well. And hopefully we can continue to use that or expand. One of the problems or issues that came up too was expanding our area. Because right now that the place where the playground is, the new playground will take up all that area, and to get other equipment moving forward, I don't know if we have necessarily the space with what's in there and stuff like that on the ground. So, and the last piece, working with Bill and Eli, and thanks Bill for reaching out, but Jody Trask was one of the school safety consultants in the state, and she came back to Bill with a couple of recommendations just to make sure, as I was looking for the 2 quotes, which will come up shortly. One of them being that the salesperson or the installer is currently a certified playground safety inspector. And for as fast as Bolin was to get us the drawings, they were very slow on some of these other follow-up questions. So I hadn't heard back from them when I reached out. But Lee Recreation said their salespeople are currently actually take the test the 13th. So that's today. So they're taking the test there, but they also will have, and then on the bottom one, they talked about having someone do an audit as it's being put together and someone there. And Lee Recreations always has a couple of people there as well that are CPSI certified while they're putting it together on the installation. So covers that piece as well. And then here are the 2 quotes. We did reach out to Bolin. Bolin's the company that Tibbetts is going for a piece of equipment with. And like I kind of mentioned, they were very quick to get the kind of drawings up. And it kind of excited us. We're like, wow, they're real easy. But then when we start getting some details, that's not as easy. But you can see very comparable with prices. One of the biggest things that I think Lee helps out with is they're being from Wisconsin, right out of Cambridge. So talking to them, it's, Bolin right away said it's minimum 40 weeks. Right now is the minimum of when they can kind of do install. So if we look at it, I kind of put up there at the kind of beginning of November. That's, again, freezing and all that weather kind of plays in the role. And then talking to Lee, they're looking at worst case scenario would be beginning of September. But he seemed very, I guess, positive outlook that if they have a job out in Green Bay or somewhere north and the weather's not going to be so good there, since they're so close to us here in Elkhorn, they can just reschedule as long as our area is prepped and ready to roll. So hopefully it would be quicker. And then just working with them. I know they worked with fitness equipment in between middle school, worked closely with John Anslow on stuff like that. And then, like I had said before, they did our West Side Playground and some groups and other equipment that we've had. And they're working with, and Bolin is working with Tibbetts on that piece of equipment this year. Finally, the funding, which I'm proud or happy to share with, is yes, we got a commitment from Jim Brown. Buildings Ground is going to continue to contribute that 30,000. PTA is going to do the 10,000. Thank you, Kelsey. Thank you to Kelsey filling out the Elkhorn Foundation grant. Thank you, Jason, for that suggestion, and all the board members on that foundation. They awarded the 15,000 there. Talking to Katie James, we're applying to Walmart, Aldi, and Lowe's grants. Haven't heard back from Lowe's. Aldi and Walmart, I believe, is end of March is when they start looking at that stuff. And then Mr. Silvera, the Westside AP, applied for the Alliant Energy grant, which could be about $1,000. It's kind of their funding for school playgrounds there. And then talking to Bill helped us out or clued us in, I guess. There's an endowment gift money to the elementary schools, inviting that we could finish off the playground with up to 5,000, all depending on the grants that are coming now. I think we're short with all the others that we have guaranteed is 4,636, I think, with that adaptive swing. So we have it fully funded.
Nice job.
So thank you.
Good job.
Any questions for us? All right.
No, that's a lot of work.
And there it is. We did work with Lee, and that's going to be the final. We tried to get the different colors and things like that. So thank you very much. And thank you, Bill, and thank you, Jason, as well.
Thank you. Good work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
We,
No, actually.
yeah, when we originally put that on the agenda, I didn't have final word from the education. So, since when it came in, so, no action needed.
That's amazing.
Next is our minutes. January 23rd, questions? Comments? Hearing none. Looking for a motion.
I'll move to approve the minutes of January 23rd, 2023 regular session school board meeting as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the January 23rd, 2023 regular session school board meeting as presented. Roll call, please.
Mr. Gayheart?
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll?
Yes.
Mr. Martell?
Yes.
Yes.
Mrs. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow?
Yes.
Ms. Colton?
Yes.
Motion carried. Gentlemen, other fund bills, Mr. Truman.
The general and other fund bills this evening covers checks number 148468 through 148658, wire transfers 660 through 673, and ACH checks number 453 to 521, combined amount of $1,123,620.61. And then there was a memo with some additional information on the bills and the board packing.
Bill, was the handicap door at the high school and the school, was that part of the referendum that?
Yeah, I mean, it really became, it wasn't included in the original project.
Okay.
So we didn't have CG Schmidt do it. That's why you didn't see it
Okay.
come through
Okay.
that process. So technically, we don't have to have a handicap door because we have one on the other end of the building. But
Oh.
because they use that as a separate entry, it came through.
Okay,
as a
so it
request.
just kind of became apparent that
Yeah.
that was a need.
Exactly.
Okay, because I was wondering, I'm like, how did we do that without having one? But
Yeah.
Okay.
Other questions from Mr. Truman? Hearing none, looking for a motion.
I move to approve the general and other fund bills of February 13th, 2023, check numbers 148468 to 148658, wire numbers 660 to 673, and ACH numbers 454 to 521 in a combined amount of $1,123,620.61 as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the general and other fund bills of February 13th, 2023, checks number 148468 to 148658, wire number 660 to 673, and ACH numbers 454 to 521 in the combined amount of $1,123,620.61 as presented. Roll call, please.
Mr. Gayheart?
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll?
Yes.
Mr. Martell?
Yes.
Donald?
Yes.
Mrs. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow?
Yes.
Ms. Colton?
Yes.
Motion carried. Board discussion items, student report.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, I guess it's you.
So Emma made it, so I don't know everything about it, but
Now I really.
so at Westside, they were learning about dental care. They brought in a therapy dog that's been training, kids got to meet that. So fun in the library, they were building playgrounds. And I guess that was like science class, and then the art projects. And then at Tibbetts, they were also learning about dental care. They had an Ellis Island day. They talked about sea shanties, had a frozen day, made bread, and then I must ask you a question. And then at Jackson, they had their dress up days. It looks like a Tacky Tourist day, superhero day, and then a class color day. They went on a VR field trip. The older kids went on a wildlife tour, and the younger kids visited fairy tales. I think it's very cool with the VR, like what they're able to do now. And then caught being extra kind. And then at the middle school, the FFA team placed first in the quiz bowl, which is a huge accomplishment. The sixth graders were building building and testing wind turbines in science. And then students are planning and designing CAD, which I don't know what that program is, but
It's a design program.
and creating tiny homes. And then at the high school, we have our HOSIC state qualifiers. That was our snowball court. Gymnastics had their kids camp fundraiser. And then there was a movie night for our spring musical, so they played Footloose in the auditorium. Then at options, the kids created ice sculptures that you were able to drive by and see. The high school students were working on survival boxes. Yeah, and then Love to Read Week. So I think that was their book fair. And then the middle school students are creating loops. And then at CCA, youth builders continue to remodel a space listed as builders, and then they're learning instruction methods and planning skills. Yeah.
Director's report.
Presenting some of the material. Oh, no. Yeah, no. Oh.
Yeah, yeah. It's all you. Is this a competition?
Yeah, go.
It's like we have 24 hours. I'm not nervous at all. No, I didn't. Yeah. You can try.
No, it's okay.
I don't know if everyone had a chance to hear that in the classroom, the students receive a presentation by the teacher and how to use the material for that work. But we put some directions on there, and it's just to kind of keep your hands and minds busy while we do this presentation. Good evening, my name is Tricia Spendy. I'm director over at Options Virtual Charter School, and I'll introduce these two ladies in just a moment. But the topic of the presentation tonight is 4K and 5K programming at Options Virtual Charter School. So those are some of our 4K, 5K students there. Okay, so as you know, in Options, we are 4K through 12th grade. Right now we have about 319 students, but as I mentioned, we're going to talk about really what's happening with those 31 4K, 5K students, because we're doing some different things this year. So tonight with me, I have brought Katie Loth and Deb Dahl. Deb Dahl, she's our Montessori guide. She works for us part-time, and she's actually former parent in Options. Her daughter's at Elkhorn High School now, but she was with us since 4th grade. And Katie Loth is our teacher on record. She is full-time, and she's working with
a few different groups of our 4K, 5K students. that we will be sharing.
All right, so the different options that we have for our 4K, 5K kiddos are they can be book-based, which would be a traditional homeschool type situation, except these kiddos are assigned a teacher on record, so that would be me, and I just collaborate with the parents to make sure that the curriculum is, appropriate for their kiddo, and then they will oftentimes bring their kid in to have a formal assessment done, so like a running record or map testing, things like that. And the second option would be all online. And so those kiddos have their curriculum delivered online, but they're typically working with a parent or a learning coach, but they're also assigned a teacher on record. So if parents are having any kind of issue, they would contact their teacher on record, which would again be me for a kindergartner. And we kind of work together to problem solve. And again, they usually bring them into Option School to have their formal assessments done. And then there's also a weekly meeting where we would meet online to have just kind of a check-in or to deliver new curriculum. But the main thing that we're excited about tonight is we're kind of gonna go over our new multi-age classroom, which we're in the middle of our first year doing, and it's going wonderfully. So multi-age is 4K, 5K combined, and we use a Montessori model to deliver a curriculum. So I just got certified in Montessori, and Deb has had a lot of experience with Montessori. So we're doing it together, and it's going wonderful so far. So this is just kind of what it looks like at Options. So 3 full days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, where all the kids come in for a full school day. So the Mondays and Fridays where they're at home is where they're working with their learning coach, which is typically a parent, and they're working on things that Deb and I send home for them to work on, and it's all individualized, so it's just based on what that kiddo needs, and so they're working on that at home. So we call it the Montessori hybrid model because it is the homeschooling model, but Montessori 3 days a week, 3 full school days a week.
I'll jump in and say we have 19 students in that hybrid classroom that come in. But as far as our academy overall in 4K through 5th grade, we have about 90 students that come in. And Katie mentioned the book-based and online students. Those students are able to come in on Tuesday mornings for arts, music, PE, and STEM. So we have some additional students in on those days. And all students are available to attend our field trips and our supplemental activities. Oh. Okay, it's gonna be tricky for the next part because you're gonna have to just kind of keep scrolling through. Because we're gonna read some descriptions about what is Montessori education. So about the next 20 slides. All right, go ahead.
I'm doing some learning, so hopefully you can hear me well enough. But for more than a century now, the child-focused approach that Dr. Maria Montessori, an Italian physician, developed for educating children has been transforming schools around the globe.
And as soon as you enter a classroom, you know that something is different. Montessori classrooms are immediately recognizable. You will see children working independently and in groups, often with specially designed learning materials like you have in front of you. They're deeply engaged in their work and respectful of themselves and their surroundings.
So the Montessori model fosters rigorous, self-motivated growth for children and adolescents in all areas of their development: cognitive, emotional, social, and physical.
Montessori education is student-led and self-paced, but guided, assessed, and enriched by knowledgeable and caring teachers, the leadership of their peers, and a nurturing environment.
Within the community of a multi-age classroom, designed to create natural opportunities for independence, citizenship, and accountability, children embrace multisensory learning and passionate inquiry. Individual students follow their own curiosity at their own pace, taking the time they need to fully understand each concept and meet individual needs, their individual needs.
So given the freedom and support to question, probe deeply, and make connections, Montessori students grow up to be confident, enthusiastic, and self-directed learners and citizens, accountable to both themselves and their community. They think critically, work collaboratively, and act boldly with integrity. What better outcome could we wish for our children?
Going to Egypt and Valentine. I just put a bunch of pictures in here. I wish we could have brought the students here. I wish we could bring you into the classroom. We the best we could. We wanted to bring them, but it's a little late. Right during dinner.
There's gonna be a lot of sugar tomorrow.
But we would invite you to come in anytime and observe what's happening in there. Here we go. Okay, you can go to the next slide.
So we've explained what Montessori is. Now we'd like to address some common misconceptions about this educational philosophy. Misconception number one, Montessori classrooms are chaotic or have no rules. Independence and freedom. We use independence and freedom within limitations. Children are free to move and explore, but only within the boundaries created by lessons on grace and courtesy. When children are allowed this freedom and independence to discover what interests them, they're more motivated to learn and develop their concentration. Because of freedom within limits, Montessori students actually develop more self-discipline than students in traditional classrooms.
So another misconception is that kids can't be kids in Montessori. You see this intricate, detailed work, and it seems a little bit serious, but their work in the Montessori classroom actually is play for them. When they have the opportunity, children love to emulate the activities of the older adults, and the older children in the classroom are multi-age. So you can see, for example, in this picture, the student is serving himself snack. So everything is just at their size. They have glass bowls, real utensils, dishes. They actually wash their own dishes and serve their own food. They set the table. They arrange the flowers in the vase on the table. It's that area of the classroom is called practical life. They make a spill. They have a little dustpan. You know, they clean up. They respect their environment. It's amazing.
All right, so another misconception is that students are unprepared for real school. And so Montessori education actually prepares children to be independent thinkers with strong social skills, attention, and an innate love of learning. And according to studies, children who get a Montessori education outperform peers in math, reading, social development, and executive function. And truly, because I have been in both settings, I really do see how it prepares them wonderfully for going into first, second grade. So I don't see anything missing. I see a beautiful bridge being built, and so it's great to see.
Their concrete number sense is amazing. Well, I guess we'll get into that.
Misconception number 4, there is no curriculum to follow. Montessori developed materials are the curriculum. Montessori training is clear in the progression of use with the materials, and lessons given meet and exceed common core standards. So let us demonstrate. When young students can recognize numerical symbols 1 through 9 in their quantities, Montessori learned they were capable of working through these operations with large numbers using the decimal system. They even preferred it because the excitement and fulfillment they received by doing big work like the big kids. So you'll see the student here, he lays out the large number cards that you have there. And when he's laying them out, you read them like 1 unit, 10 units, 3 units, 1 10, 2 10s, 3 10s, 100s, 200s, 300s, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, and so on. After they learn that, they learn to add the gold bead material that represents the quantities accordingly. Next, they build various numbers with both the number cards and the gold bead material. So you can see how Montessori really breaks down the small pieces of what we're trying to teach them, one little piece at a time before we ask them to put it all together. So then they come to large number addition. So here you can see the student is adding 4,255 plus 3,724. Before coming to his sum, he'll have taken and built those numbers with the gold bead material in a deconstructed form before putting the whole number together, and then bring those quantities together at the bottom to come up with the total sum. It's 4.
They completely understand it.
So after that, this process takes a long time, but it's by design. And the reason for that is that when they start Maria Montessori discovered that when they started doing these big works like this, and it took them a long time, they found the joy in it because it was fun building all these big, huge numbers. But then after a while, all of a sudden they came and said, hey, 6 + 2 = 8. I don't need all this. And then we move into small number addition and just work on memorizing those facts.
And, spending, well, I will say too, my children went through Montessori preschool and we paid a lot of money for it. And this is right here in our district, available to families. When you spend time in this classroom, you would never know that there are 19 students in there working. The noise you hear is them busy doing their work. They're talking, but they're talking softly. And it's a neat feeling when you walk in there to see them working so hard and having fun too. They have a lot of fun. Something I thought I would point out that is very cute. Look at their feet. Do you notice something in common with their feet?
I love Crocs on.
Yep, they're wearing Crocs. So one of the things that they do when they come in, and they all have their special bag that they bring back and forth. They're very independent. The 4-year-olds, they open their lockers, everything is hung up. They need to talk to the 5th graders. The 5th graders need to come down and watch. But so they're so independent, but they take their street shoes off when they get there, and they put their Crocs on to be classroom shoes because they spend a lot of time on the floor with their mats. They're working. So those shoes keeps the floor clean in there since they lay on the floor, and they're quiet and soft too. So if you accidentally step on something. So any questions?
I would say that my wife, when my daughter was in 4K, she desperately wanted to go to a Montessori school. And we did go over and look at, I was going to do it, but we wanted to see what it was. I wanted to see what it was about. Right? I wanted to explore it. So we went over to Lake Geneva to explore it, just to see what it was. And I remember bringing it up to you after that. And I said, boy, if we could do this, that'd be great.
I have had a dream to do this, Jason. This is my 7th year here. I think I mentioned it to him my first year here that I really wanted to move this direction. And we had a lot of parents asking for this, and we had some of the materials on hand with some curriculum that we were providing to some families. And then Deb walked into our life already certified in Montessori. We pulled Katie in, and we had our academy already going, but we didn't have 4K as part of that. It started in kindergarten. So we had the perfect opportunity. And
I know we would have jumped at it.
Yeah.
If it wasn't built.
We spent a week in the Janesville Montessori and to 9 kids just to see how they would react.
Yeah.
It's amazing because there it was only up to 3rd grade. And so kindergarten and 3rd grade all in one.
Oh, right.
And they're all working on something different, and the secure pin drop. Like my husband was like, this is so cool.
I know.
They're so, if you get frustrated with one thing, you can set it down and pick something different.
Right.
And then it keeps them engaged, but they don't get to the point of frustration where they're hitting a wall.
Right.
And they're told that they can come back to it, walk away from it, come back to it.
When you see the materials, you think it would be chaos in there, but there's such a plan.
Exact opposite. Yeah. Because they know it. The kids love the routine.
Show your.
Oh yeah.
I did punch out my triangle.
Oh, that's my favorite.
I don't know if I got the ribbon. It really bothers me that I didn't like the ribbon sizes. I was like, oh no. And then it says create your own pattern. I was like, okay. Run all the directions. Now I can do it the way I want to.
My youngest went to Montessori for 3-year-old, 4-year-old kindergarten. And
so you're familiar with the
very much, but all of it, yeah. And I'll tell you what, I wish that Montessori had been around for my older two because it's phenomenal. I love it.
So how are you getting the word out to the community?
I had no idea that you were doing Montessori.
So we have found that we're a pretty hot topic right now in a lot of the community play groups.
Okay.
And I think that
it's
happens
word of mouth
through younger siblings that are coming up their ranks too, that are at play groups or parents.
Because that looks like a full class.
So
are your numbers
we have
Yeah.
We can fit about 20 in that classroom.
Sure.
Okay.
And that's about it with them all the materials.
Yeah.
So we have 8 kindergartners that will be moving on to first grade. So we have then 12. 9 spots left. So I've had 8 meetings already for next year. And then we also have a couple younger siblings that are coming in, and
So you're doing this in 4K and 10K and 5K. Okay.
and then they transition into first grade.
Yeah.
So yeah, it will be tight. I mean, we don't have caps, so we accept any students, but within this particular program, there are limits. But we always have book-based, like Katie was mentioning, we have book-based, and we have online too. So,
Are you getting a lot of online for those 2 grades?
so online is 5K only, on up, 5K on up. And I think we had five kids. Yeah, we have 5 in there right now.
Just to get the support at home.
Book-based is a better setup, but there is a little bit more support when you're having your lessons accessed through the dashboard, and you have that teacher that's there to support you. Some parents are afraid to do the book-based. I am too. All right, well, I will just kind of separate. This one is so sweet too. I saw this one. Everything's just so pretty.
Yeah.
But I think we'll just go, should we just clean up real quick? Sure. Yeah. Thank you for your attention.
I would add, we didn't really plan this out from this aspect, but having both of our charter schools on the same evening is just a coincidence with that. But I'd be remiss, it's a great example of those additional access and opportunities that are given to our students. But also I think something that's really significant for both of these programs is that both of them are a positive revenue generator for the school district. Meaning the amount of revenue that we bring in for options and the Career and College Academy is significantly greater than what the actual expense is to operate those programs. So it benefits the rest of the school district as well. And I think that's important to keep in mind. And I know we're in our 9th year with options, and that was one of the, when I was hired, one of the very first things that we looked at, and the district looked at, was we were losing roughly 30 students a year to virtual schools at that time. And, that in today's dollars would be, let's see, 30 times, what is that?
Figure almost not quite $10,000.
Yeah, so almost, roughly $300,000 in revenue a year that was in today's amount, depending on whether there's special education area that was leaving. And so once we created options, that did stop that flow out. But both schools have roughly 50%. What's your
60%, I think.
60-40? We try to target, we knew from a fiscal model that we wanted them to be around at least 50-50. And so options about 60-40, 60% open enroll and 40% resident. And then CCA is just over 50% open enroll, 50% resident as well. But both of them generate more revenue than it costs to operate. So they're doing a fantastic job and giving great opportunities to the kids. Thank you.
Thank you. You did a great job too, Jason.
Well, thank you. The space bar is easier than the Google slides. Yeah.
Junior enrollment.
Speaking of enrollment. Mr. Truman?
Yeah, the state requests that we do 2 official count dates. They're really snapshots. In reality, we could do a count every day, and it could vary depending on kids coming and going. But this is our January count, so we do our official count in September, which determines our revenue cap, and then this number, along with the September, is also using calculation of our state aid. So those are the relevant points. Overall, this is a head count number, so if you compare September to January, I think we're up by 13 students between those two. But when you look at the different schools, you see a lot of our schools are pretty much about where they were in September, other than ZCA and options. You see both of them are up. So I think that reflects the work, obviously, that those schools are doing and the students that are attending there. So the good news is that it's pretty solid numbers. Things haven't changed drastically from early September. So.
Jason, like in Sophos, the enrollment is up at Sophos. Was that, and then the numbers were down a little bit at the high school? Is that some of the kids from the high school transferring over to Sophos, or
possibly.
Do you know where that movement?
Yeah, probably Sophos is such a small program.
Right.
It may be more shifting over to CCA as they enroll in January. Over to CCA is another start period.
Sure.
But Sophos does start out the year with more space, and there is some transition to it over the year. But that Sophos program is pretty full.
Okay.
As well now.
And you might notice if you look at our total grade numbers comparing, there isn't a huge change, really.
Right.
You know, it's just kind of a mix between the different programs.
And we do, over the years, go up as the students move up the grades as we get back open enrolled in students throughout the years.
Any questions?
Every, I think, 2 years, Moody's does a reassessment basically of our financial rating as a school district. They do that because we have outstanding long-term debt. And they don't do it necessarily for our benefit, they do it for those that have lent money to us, so the other financial institutions. And basically, this came out here just recently at the end of January. They reaffirmed our credit rating of AA2, which is a good solid rating. Moody's is obviously one of two entities that does rating, Standards and Poor's being the other one. AAA would be the very top. I think there's 3 school districts in the state that have a AAA rating. And then below that, you have a AA1, and then 2 and 3. And then below that is an A1, 2, and 3. And then below that is, I guess, D ratings. So it's a solid rating. I think last time I checked, there's 40-something school districts in the state that have that rating. So, and we've asked both Jason and I what we could do to even increase our rating beyond that. And probably the limitation is our overall property value. And there isn't a lot we can do as a school district to control that. But based on the size of our school district, it's a very solid rating. It really is. And we've been able to maintain that. The numbers, I think, show when you look at some of the details under the economy and the financial and the leverage, you notice that actually our cash flow has improved during that time period. Our fund balance has improved, and our debt, which is a fixed cost ratio, has gone from, I think, 12% now to 7%. So even our debt load has gone down during that time period. So all things really we want to look at is what's the pattern? How are things changing? Are they getting better or worse? This does show that things actually look better from a financial standpoint. They used to include more information on a narrative kind of analysis, and I asked them why they stopped that, and they said some of the clients didn't like the narrative. So for some reason they stopped it. They said, thanks for the info, because maybe they'll start it again. So.
Yeah, I would scroll to the.
Yeah, I know, I like that
Sorry.
narrative piece. So. Otherwise, you just look at the numbers and it's.
Yeah, well, I don't have you explain it to me. But yeah, no, the narrative was right. Nice.
That's all I had on that.
So on the right-hand side where it says doubling medians, is that the compilation of all the schools in the state with that same rating?
That's a national rating.
Oh, it's
so
a national
yeah,
rating.
so it's comparing kind of nationally.
Okay.
Not just Wisconsin.
Got it.
So yeah, so when you look at that number, we're 129% of that median income.
Right.
The national for that AA. Yeah, being in the top 40 districts on on that rating out of 400 plus school districts.
Top 10%. You mentioned, things that they said property value. Would they look for additional property value? So, in other words, what are they looking for?
Yeah, I think the question really is, what could we do under our control to even get up to like a double A1 rating? And is it really, as a district, your operating reserves are solid, your debt load is very manageable. The one piece would be if your property values were to increase, and they need to increase, I think they use the term quite a bit.
They laughed at me when I tried to say we should triple it. And like this was a couple of years ago because we were way too small for a property valuation. Yes.
So
we need more
development.
We
need more buildings.
Yeah, not necessarily physical space, but it would be the value of it.
Yeah, so additional houses being built,
Correct.
additional people moving to the
Businesses.
school district.
Yep. All that would
Would
help.
help
Yeah.
tremendously in many ways.
And the other factor that rates pretty heavily now they didn't rate before is stability within the school district, stability in administration, stability in school board. Okay, and they look at that closely because they see that there's a consistent pattern of that stability and then the financial strength.
Meaning not high turnover?
Correct. Yep.
Questions?
Okay, in regard to, we just have this as a standing agenda item in regards to the referendum update. We've been sharing with the staff the information regarding the referendum, making sure they're informed. We have our one pagers and any community group or organization or individuals that want us to visit and speak to them in regards to the referendum and
Have you had any
what
groups
it's
reach
about.
out?
Yeah, we have a presentation on Wednesday at the Lions Club. I was asked to present at an FFA event. We have a date that we'll have scheduled for just an open community meeting that we'll announce and share that. What are some other?
PTO, PTA.
Yeah, some PTO, PTAs.
Rotary, Kiwanis, I think.
Yeah. I'd have to, pull the sheet up, Joey doesn't show managing that. There you go. So, that's all I have.
Personnel.
All right. We have a retirement announced at Stephanie Bratz. We want to thank Stephanie for her years of service. She won't be done till the end of the year, but she's served in the school district for 26 years. Sorry, my eyes aren't working well. Jessica Doge is a resignation with Sanoak, Chris McClernand, Jordan Kaiser, and Chad Stoltz, and their respective positions. We have a number of appointments. Jessica Kidrowski is a sports staff member at Jackson. Tom Lee is a high school girls track head coach. Daniel Vaquero as a boys tennis assistant coach. Emily Hoskins as a boys tennis assistant coach. Beth Burdell as a high school girls soccer assistant coach. And Vince Unlis as a high school girls assistant.
Questions for Mr. Todd?
I move to approve the personnel recommendation sheet for February 13th, 2023, including new employment contracts conditioned upon passing a background check and district mandated drug screening.
Is there a second?
Second.
So moved and seconded to approve the personnel recommendation sheet for February 13th, 2023, including the employment contracts conditioned upon passing the background check and the district mandated drug screening as presented. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Gaher.
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll.
Yes.
Mr. Martell.
Yes.
Yes.
Mrs. Ray.
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow.
Yes.
Ms. Colton.
Yes.
School gifts.
Okay, we have a number of school gifts to present tonight, 6 in total. The Elkhorn Area High School Booster Club is donating $250 to the Elkhorn Autism Support Team. The Elkhorn Area Fine Arts Boosters, who were here earlier this evening, has donated $600 to the band department, $600 to the theater department, and $600 to the culinary arts department. The Southern Lakes Church has donated $3,212.97 for a snack and a pack. Elkhorn Rotary has donated $1,500 for the youth build program and $2,000 for snack and a pack. Kevin Monte has donated $1,000 to Tibbetts Elementary to be used at the discretion of Mr. Frost. And Encore has donated 8 heavy-duty easels valued at $1,600.
Looking for a motion to accept.
I move to accept the generous school gifts as presented.
Is there a second? Second. So moved and seconded to accept the generous school gifts of the Elkhorn Area High School Booster Club, the Elkhorn Area Fine Arts Boosters, Southern Lakes Church, Elkhorn Rotary, Kevin Monte, and Encore.
Mr. Gayheart?
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll?
Yes.
Mr. Martell?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Mrs. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow?
Yes.
Ms. Colton?
Yes.
Motion carried. Parking lot uses.
We've received numerous requests to use the district parking lots for fundraising purposes. Attached is the current request list. And I do want to give a big shout out to Larry Gaffey, the fair coordinator and director, because they bring in so many great and amazing events, which does allow a lot of our organizational groups to use the parking lots to fundraise and generate revenue for those organizations.
Any questions on that?
Yeah, I think we should.
Yeah, they're pretty.
Mrs. Griffin and Mrs. Scherzer, know there's open spots.
Yeah.
They want to get it on the air.
Oh, that's true.
Well, are they the band booster?
No, band is
So it's
different.
a different, yeah, so the fine arts will be.
And some events and locations are much better than others.
Yes.
I was gonna say,
Some
why is
groups
it always so close across
are
the street?
really savvy about which ones to put in.
Well,
Yeah.
So Das Fans didn't do so hot the last one, so.
yeah.
Questions? Yes, looking for a motion.
I'll move to approve the parking lot use request as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
So moved and seconded to approve the parking lot use request as presented. Roll call, please.
Mr. Gare,
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll,
Yes.
Mr. Martell,
Yes.
Yes.
Mrs. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow,
Yes.
Ms. Colton.
Yes.
Motion carried. Announcements.
Just, school board candidate interviews will take place on Monday, February 20th, starting at 6:00 p.m. I have an update. At this point, we have 7 candidates. We're still confirming with the rest of them. And we'll provide the latest, that's the latest update that I have at this.
We do have a closed session this evening. So looking for a motion to adjourn the closed session.
I move to adjourn to contemplated, or to close session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19.85, parenthetical 1, parenthetical C, to discuss the performance evaluation of a staff member. The school board will not be closed.
Is there a second?
Second.
So moved and seconded to adjourn a closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19.851C to discuss the performance evaluation of the staff member. The school board will not reconvene in open session. Roll call, please.
Mr. Gayheart. Yes. Mrs. Ingersoll.
Yes.
Mr. Martell.
Yes.
Yes.
Mrs. Ray.
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow.
Yes.
Ms. Colton.
Yes.